You're listening to the Options Insider Radio Network. For more quality options programs, visit www.theoptionsinsider.com or search for Options Insider Radio Network in your podcast provider of choice. Listeners can also access all of our programming through our mobile app, available in iTunes and on Google Play.
Welcome to the Hot Options Report, your premier source for insight into the fast-moving options market. Each day, we'll track down the products that are dominating the options chains and impacting your trading account, from Nvidia to VIX and everything in between. If it's lighting up the options tape, then you'll find it on the Hot Options Report.
All right, everybody, that music means we are back. It is time to rock out with your Hot Options Report for Tuesday, February 3rd. My name, of course, Mark Longo from the Options Insider Radio Network, your home for all of your favorite options podcasts. Make sure you're listening to the full network. And, of course, if you want to check out any of the data we're talking about on the show or run your own analysis, your own reports, the Hot Options Report.com is the place to go. You can't say it enough. You can't beat the price. You sure as heck can't beat the data. The Hot Options Report.com is the place to go to kick the tires and light the fires. As we head on out to the options market today, was it a hot day? Did it cost you a lot of contracts to break into the top 10? The answer was it was about average. 543,000 contracts is what it cost you to break into the top 10 today. It gets us to our old pal MSTR, aka strategy. The monster looking a whole heck of a lot less monstrous these days. Selling off another $6.37, or about 4.5% to close at 133.26 today. Just a rough start to the year. They're off over 15% now year to date for the monster, putting up 543,000 contracts for the number 10 spot, the hot option out there in the monster today. And again, it's going to be fascinating to watch the evolution of this list, as some names have Monday, Wednesday, Friday weeklies, and the rest all have Friday weeklies. So be interesting to see how that shakes up, and put the monster in the latter category. They only have Friday weeklies, and that was the hot option out there today. 15,000 of the 160s expiring this Friday. That's a wild strike, listeners. They were able to get 27 cents for these, so it looks like there was some OI on these, and they probably were getting the heck out of Dodge and hoping to live to trade another day. As we keep climbing to the number 9 spot, was our number 9 name climbing? The answer was no. New 52-week low for this name. This is Netflix, selling off below the 80 handle today to close at $79.94, off 282, or about almost 3.5% out there. So all this premium that's been baked into Netflix around this deal seems to be leaving, at least for right now. Netflix putting up 553,000 contracts for the number 9 spot out there today. And the hot option in Netflix, again, another name that doesn't have the Monday, Wednesday, Friday weeklies. Not that it would matter here anyway. The hot option in Netflix today, listeners, 21,000 of not the February, not even the end of week. Nope, it was the March 80 puts going up 21,000 times today for $3.17. Obviously, if you're buying these, you think there's a lot more downside to come in Netflix, in particular, over $3 below the 80 handle. Of course, these closed in the money now, so you're on the right track. It'll be interesting to see how these play out in the weeks to come as we keep climbing to the number 8 spot, listeners. This is AMD. They have earnings popping off after the bell, so be interesting to see what's going on for them out there, listeners. AMD, though, not having a good day heading into their earnings, selling off $4.16 today, listeners, or about 1.7% to close at 242.11. Again, we do have earnings after the bell. It'll be interesting to see how that plays out. AMD put up 615,000 contracts today for the number 8 spot, and the hot option. You know, we've seen a lot of names, Microsoft 500s last week. Those didn't work out too well. Meta 700s, those did work out pretty well. So a lot of different rolling of the dice heading into earnings. And today, maybe a sentiment of where things are headed. We're not looking to the upside in AMD today. Nope, it was 31,000 of the 220 puts. Pretty far out of the money puts, over $20 out of the money puts for AMD was your hot option out there today. By the way, if you're wondering, what were these going for? $2.42. So again, that is extremely rich for a put expiring at the end of the week. That's over $22 out of the money. And looks like in the after hours, the first blush, maybe they were onto something. The stock appears to be selling off in the after hours. As we're recording this right now, a little bit past the close, the stock's at $229.5, so off about almost $12.5, or about 5% from where it closed. Again, we'll have to see how this plays out on the open, but at least in the first blush, it seems like those puts might have been the right direction if you bought them. Then again, 242 is pretty rich. That's a lot of vol to pay off. We'll see if you can make those pay off tomorrow, or if the stock maybe even rebounds in the after hours. We shall see. Either way, number 8, AMD. All right, let's keep climbing to number 7, listeners. Let's keep it in the A tech names. Why don't we? Let's go out to Amazon, selling off $4.34, or about 1.8%, to close at $238.62, putting up 750,000 contracts for the number 7 spot. And the hot option in Amazon today, 49, nearly 50,000 of the 250s. Now, it's an interesting strike, but also an interesting expiration. These are not expiring on Friday. They're expiring on Wednesday. They're the new Wednesday weeklies. So it'll be interesting to see if Amazon can get above 250 by tomorrow's close. These traded for 26 cents. This was an opening trade. Looks like paper might have been selling these, though, which makes a heck of a lot more sense when the stock closes at 238. Interestingly enough, that's not an earnings play. Amazon earnings are on the 5th. So there's a straight roll of the bones through tomorrow's close as we keep rolling the bones up to number 6. Another name that rolled the bones on earnings and appears to have lost. This is PayPal. PayPal closing at $41.70 today, off $10.63, or 20.3%. Just an absolute drubbing. The first headline that comes up right now for PayPal earnings is it's time to abandon this sinking ship. So that's a rough number. That's a rough headline for PayPal. All that amounting to 862,000 contracts for PayPal out there today. And the hot option on an absolutely wild day in PayPal, 29, nearly 30,000 of the 43 calls. Average price for these, 78 cents. The high today was $43.70. So these were in the money, which probably explains why it was a pretty even spread between, looks like, buyers and sellers on these. So people were trading these back and forth all day long. 78 cents right now. Obviously looks like selling is the way to go, but we'll see. Maybe PayPal can recover as we keep climbing up our list to the number 5 spot. It's Apple. Apple selling off $0.50 today to close $269.48, putting up 1.09 million contracts. So another hot day out there volume-wise in Apple. The hot option on a hot day in the fruit company, listeners, 78,000 of the 270s. These going up for $1.75, and again, not expiring on Friday, expiring tomorrow on Wednesday. So can Apple get back north of that 270 strike? It got up to nearly 272 intraday today. So obviously, if you're buying these, you're hoping for a repeat of that. If you're selling these, you hope Apple keeps trending lower by tomorrow's close. We'll keep an eye on these, listeners. It's fascinating to see how these intra-week weeklies are now changing the game on the hot options report. Speaking of changing the game, number 4, it's Palantir. They were selling off pretty hard this year, listeners, and they're still off, even with today's rally. They're still off about 6%, but a nice little pop out there for Palantir, popping $10.10, or nearly 7%, to close at $157.88. They got as high on the open pretty much right around 165, so obviously giving some of that back, but still a good day for the Palantir bulls. Was it a good day on the options volume front as well? The answer was yeah. 1.28 million contracts, so a pretty hot day for Palantir. The hot option on a hot day in Palantir, 62, almost 63,000 of the 160s. Average price for these, about $3.20. Obviously not looking great from where we closed, but intraday, these were obviously looking a lot better. So we'll keep an eye on these, listeners. Can Palantir make it back above the 160 strike by the end of the week. We shall see as we keep climbing to the number 3 spot. This is the name that was not climbing yet again, listeners. This is Microsoft. Post-earnings has been just a dark time for this name, selling off another $12.16 or nearly 3% to close at $411.21. That puts them year to date off 61, almost 62 handles, or a little over 13%. So just a rough start to the year for Mr. Softy. And the hot option on a pretty hot day, again, Microsoft putting up 1.34 million contracts today. And the hot option out there, it's the 415s going up 20,000 times for an average price of $2.20. Looks like paper might have been selling these. Was an opening trade because guess what? It expires tomorrow. So can Microsoft get back above the 415 strike? Got as high as 422 earlier in the session. So can it get back there by tomorrow's close? Well, if you're selling these, then the answer is you hope not. But we'll keep an eye on these as we keep climbing to number 2, listeners. It's Tesla. Tesla having a weird, almost unched day, up a nickel to close at 421.96. Of course, they had a wider range intraday, nearly 15 handles to settle out. Nearly unched on the day, putting up 1.78 million contracts with the number 2 spot out there today. The hot option, 74, nearly 75,000. Of the 425s, average price for these, $3.48. And once again, these are expiring tomorrow. So if you're paying $3.48 for these, you need Tesla to get out of gear to the upside by tomorrow's close. If you're selling them, you might sweat a little bit tomorrow, but you might end up pocketing nearly $3.50. As we keep climbing to the top of our list, our old pal Nvidia taking the top spot again, but giving back some to the market god, selling off 527 or nearly 3% today to close 180.34. All this back and forth between Nvidia and OpenAI certainly seems to be weighing on Nvidia's stock this week, but it's putting up some volume on the option side, putting up over about 3.34 million contracts, hitting the tape in Nvidia today. And the hot option in Nvidia, you know, Nvidia has the Monday, Wednesday, Friday contracts, and it was the Wednesday 185s changing hands 145,000 times today. That was your hot option in Nvidia. Average price for these, 86 cents. Looks like paper might have been selling these. It was an opening trade. So if that's the case, you're hoping that Nvidia doesn't regain that 185 strike before the close today. If it doesn't, you're pocketing nice 86 cents for your efforts there, listeners. And that is going to do it for your hot options report for Tuesday, February 3rd. We're now one day into this new 0 DTE equity era. Are you trading these, listeners? Are they still a little bit intimidating for you? Are you waiting for your favorite name to get the Monday, Wednesday, and Friday expirations? I'm curious. Hit us up. Let us know. And of course, while you're hanging out online, make sure you check out our friends over there at thehotoptionsreport.com. Tell Nick and the crew I sent you. They're going to love to hear from you. And you're going to love the data you get your hands on over there. Thehotoptionsreport.com. See you back here on the network tomorrow. Of course, it's Education Wednesday. You know we're going to talk some education on Options Bootcamp. We're going to talk some futures on the Futures Rundown before we're back after the closing bell. Another episode of the Hot Options Report. Stay safe out there, everybody.
You're listening to the Options Insider Radio Network. For more quality options programs, visit www.theoptionsinsider.com or search for Options Insider Radio Network in your podcast provider of choice. Listeners can also access all of our programming through our mobile app, available in iTunes and on Google Play.